So, if you are watching this on the playback, welcome as well. And don't forget to consider leaving a subscribe down the bottom and potentially hit the bell, because if you hit the bell when I do go live, I'm trying to go live at least once a week, you'll get a notification when I go live and you can jump in and join me in the chat, and that would be fantastic. And yeah, that's the intro. So let's move on. So GameStop stocks have been going crazy for the last week, and it has been phenomenal to watch. It has been hilarious. We'll get to the funny stuff later, but first we'll get just a little very basic grounding in where we're at now. First things first, I'm not a registered financial advisor. I do not give any financial advice. This is not financial advice. You should not interpret this as any form of financial advice. And just to make this very clear, I am not giving you any financial advice. Should you make any decisions with regards to financial investments, please make sure you go and speak to someone who is qualified to do so. And disclaimer, big heavy disclaimer. So don't come crying to me if you go buy GameStop stocks and they turn out not to be worth anything come Monday. Hopefully they are, but again, not financial advice. Jesus Christ. Do I need to say it again? Not financial advice. So what's happening with GameStop stonks? Let's have a look at, let's bring up the current price. So currently, the GameStop stock, let's put this out to where this all kind of started. So we can see over here, let's zoom in a little bit because some people might be watching on mobile and some of us might have shitty eyes. So we can see here where the prices have been quite low, relatively speaking, over the last 5 days. If we go out again to a month, so a couple of weeks ago, we're looking at $17, $18 a share. And then we get over here. This is where all the craziness starts to happen, where we're starting to look at 300 to 400. I think it might have topped out at 500 at some point. No, it didn't quite make it to 500. But these stocks have gone absolutely fucking crazy. Now, the very TLDR version of this is essentially there are hedge funds out there, and what they do is, at least part of what they do, and I guess the pertinent part to this story, is that what they're doing is they're betting that a stock will go down. Now, when a stock goes down, it means the overall value of the company is less, and essentially it means they're betting that a company is going to fail. Now, GameStop is a brick and mortar retail business that sells video games, and believe it or not, a lot of people just download their video games through places like Steam, the Xbox Marketplace, the Sony Online Store, and, brick and mortar, not really the premier place. If you do go to any of these sort of places, you'll notice they're selling a lot more Funko Pops and toys and shirts and shit because there's just not enough money in video games. So hedge funds look at GameStop and go, hey, you're the next fucking blockbuster, and we want in on this shit, because what they do is they will go and borrow a stock from someone who has stocks in GameStop and say, hey, I'll borrow this stock and I'll give it back to you in X amount of time and I'll pay you a fee to do so. And what they do is, once they've borrowed the stock, because they haven't purchased it, it doesn't make a big impact on the overall price of the stock. But what they do is they sell it. And now what happens when you sell the stock is it increases the supply of stocks to the market, which, supply and demand, it has the effect of potentially making the stock go lower than it would normally. But they're already betting that it's going to go low anyway. So they sort of help push this downward pressure on a stock. And so they sell it, and after the time elapses, say they've borrowed it for 10 days. They sell it on day one, and they sell it for $100 a stock. And they've sold 10 stocks, so they've sold it for $1,000, and they've got $1,000 in their pocket. And 10 days later, these are arbitrary numbers. Don't take these as representative. This is just for simplicity to make sure that it's easier to sort of picture. But say in 10 days, those stocks are now, instead of $100, they're now $50. So they buy the 10 stocks back. They've only spent $500 to do so. They give the stocks back and they pay a small fee out of that profit of $500. They pay the small fee to the person they borrowed it from, and then they keep the rest. They have basically, I don't want to say magicked money, but if you said abracadabra, it might look like a bit of a party trick, because they've made money and they've done nothing except arguably harm the value of a business that is operating on the stock market. The noise in the background. The moose. Oh, no. That's a reindeer. That's Tony Chopper. He's a reindeer. He's not a moose. Jeez. He usually gets confused for a tanuki. I put him there on purpose, Amanda. My background's a mess. I'm not going to talk about that. Anyway, once they go through this whole process, it turns out they make money. And yeah, there's some reports out there, there's some experts out there that suggest that some of these companies not only do this when they see stocks going down, but they actually add pressure to it by then putting out reports on why these stocks are shit, so that when they borrow it, they sell it, they put out a report saying, hey, this stock's really shit, so that they can turn around and buy it even cheaper than, say, the natural market forces and stuff. Now, I have got some fucking issues with that type of stock manipulation. But anyway, that's broadly what we're talking about. So I don't want to get too far into that because it's fraught with the need for being very accurate, and we don't want to misinform. But that's enough to sort of get the idea. So basically, these hedge funds, which are backed with billions of dollars, they have people that invest in these purely to stockpile a big pile of money so they can move that money around to make more money. They do this. And they've done this for a long time. This is not something new. The idea of shorting a stock is not new. What is new, however, is that we live in 2021. We have internet connections. These connections are fast. These connections are reliable. And these connections allow people to congregate in places like Reddit. And so Reddit has a subreddit called Wall Street Bets. And look, everyone's heard this. None of this is probably new for anyone that's listening. The story's sort of been around for the last 4 or 5 days at least in the mainstream. But Wall Street Bets is full of these really, like, when you think of Reddit and when you think of Redditors, these are the people that you think of. Like, the language they use, the memes they meme, they are Reddit. We're going to have a look at them because it is hilarious. I love it. Like, I'm a Redditor before I was a Twitter person, and it's great. Some of the stuff that's come out has been fantastic. But basically, the democratizing nature of the internet and access to information has meant that now people, what are called retail investors, which are people that are just as individuals, they go and they invest without being part of a hedge fund or a formal group of people, I suppose, or registered group of people. They can access stocks through retail channels like Robinhood, again, another player, which we might talk about a little bit later, who help facilitate the every person trading. So, people like you, people like me, we can take our Christmas bonuses and we can put them into GameStop stocks. Again, not financial advice. Don't do this. This is a meme. Yada, yada, yada. These people have basically gone, fuck you to the hedge funds because they've seen what the hedge fund is doing. People using publicly available information identified that the stock was shorted. So Amanda says Angel's explanation of what happened was a bunch of white kids fucked up Wall Street. I'm not sure he gets the intricacies, but it's still pretty funny. Now, here's something that I want to make, I think, very clear, and that's a very apt understanding, is that, yes, it is Redditors that were fucking going, lol, we're going to cost you billions of dollars, you Wall Street fucks. They're not all kids, though. I think the language is very sort of 80s, Wolf of Wall Street. It sort of belies the fact that these are probably a diverse group of people that sort of span quite a long age range. I'm sure I made you a moderator before, Amanda, I thought, anyway. So there's been the media attention on this has been great. It has gone through some fucking cycles of like just absolute fucking salt. Anyway, I think I've explained it to the point where at least we can sort of together enjoy some of the memes and some of the backlash and some of the responses that have been going from this. There's been a range of responses. Now, one of the earliest responses I saw was people that were blaming incels and people with stimulus checks that were going and they were spending their money on stocks to just have fun. And it was really irresponsible. And hey, these poor, stupid idiots are going to lose all their money and they're fucking up our game. We should do something about that. And it moved on from there to, hey, is this just Gamergate? Like, I fucking no idea how you get the link to Gamergate, because Gamergate was about ethics and journalism, and then it was about women in video games and all this other sort of shit that it got hijacked by. So I don't know how they've made the link there. But if we go... CNBC, they spoke to Lee Cooperson. Cooperman, not Cooperson. And basically they had a chat to him about his take on the whole thing. Now, there were some clips going around Twitter where he was having a breakdown. And I think I've spotted something here. But let's have a quick listen to some of the
Lee,
stuff.
it's good to have you here. Thanks for being on.
Some of his stuff.
Nice to be with you.
Let me just get your broad perspective first of what you make of the whole GameStop situation as you've been watching it unfold for these last couple of weeks.
Well, Rob referred to the casino environment, and I think he's on the right track.
It's gambling. Stock market is gambling.
No surprise. Prior to the virus hitting, the number of unemployed people in the country was, I think, 5.7 million. That ballooned to over 23 million, is now dropped to about 10.7 million. And it's very clear that the Fed and Congress is pulling at every stop to get employment back to where it was pre-virus. So they create an environment of free money. We have no commissions anymore.
Stimulus.
Because of Robinhood. We
Retail
have an
investors.
administration that is spending money like drunken sailors.
So decode a little bit of this here. People are unemployed. So they're sitting at home. They've been sent stimulus checks, so they've got money, and they've got access to the market. So it's not just for rich people anymore. That's kind of his criticism so far. Now, if we look at the ticker just down below, Reddit users spark volatility in stocks like Gamestop, AMC. There's a few. GameStop's the memey one because it's the one that's been most affected, and it's the one that's a bit funnier because it's like, hey, imagine if this happened to Blockbuster when it was in its sort of final years of being relevant, and suddenly it exploded. That's kind of why GameStop is the funny
Not being critical.
one here.
The only person I'm really critical of, to be honest with you, is Powell, because when he says that the stock market is
really
not
boring.
expensive against interest rates, he's leaving out the second part where interest rates are
But
ridiculously
the funny
priced.
bit is what's not here.
If interest rates belong at near zero, you're not supposed to make more than 2 or 3% in the stock
God,
market.
finance news is boring.
So,
So let's
I think
stream
what's
about it.
going on is a logical consequence of zero interest rates, zero commissions, and very stimulative fiscal policy.
So
Stimulative fiscal policy. Again, he's blaming you poors who are sitting at home unemployed, partially because of the coronavirus, partially because of just a shitty economy overall. It's your fucking fault. So this is fantastic to sort of give us the context of what is being fought against by the people that are involved. And, you know, yes, not everyone who is buying GameStop stocks is doing so in a resist way. A lot of people are seeing it and going, hey, fuck, I want to cash in on this. But the core to the movement is fuck this guy. Not this guy specifically necessarily, but what this guy stands for. Like, this is a billionaire who has been crying on TV. Like I saw a clip, I think it was a couple of years ago when Elizabeth Warren and was it Bernie Sanders were talking about a tax on the wealthy. He was crying on fucking CNBC, sorry, at the idea of him being taxed more because he'd lose some money. It is crazy. Anyway, like,
are you saying that so it's partly the Fed's fault for putting a lot of gasoline
He's saying it's
on the fire over the last many years?
Oh, wow.
But also, I sense you're suggesting, tell me if I'm wrong, that you think this is part of a broader populist movement, perhaps, created by the very environment that you just talked about, the Fed
stimulus,
instigating, if you will.
Money to the poors.
I'm not critical of what the Fed per se is doing. I'm critical of the dialogue. In other words,
Right, so look down the bottom. The title card has changed. Now, there was another clip I saw. All right, so remember when I pointed you to the ticker at the bottom? The ticker at the bottom, this is the same ticker. He's wearing the same clothes. He's in the same room. This was the same interview. Now, I'm not going to play the rest of the other interview because he basically goes on and just, it's boring, dry finance talk. But this is part of the interview that is not on the CNBC's video on demand version of this interview. This part has been removed. Now, when I alluded to the fact that he was criticizing the poors for using their stimulus checks to go and buy stocks, and they were sitting at home and they were just going, hey, fuck the rich. he didn't just imply it in this interview. Let's listen to this. This is just short 16 seconds. And this is not dry finance talk. This is billionaire salt. And space doesn't work on
the reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government, okay? And this fair share is a bullshit concept. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people. And, I think it's inappropriate. We all got to work together and pull together. The reason.
So that's kind of where he's at. Like, that's full on, like, fuck the poor people. There's issues, I think, with the stock market overall, and the issues with the fact that so much money gets generated in, like, futures, like betting on companies and how they'll do in the future. Like, I think that's fraught with bullshit. But we dumb it all the way down, and the stock market is supposed to represent our economies. So, depending on what country you're from, where that's sort of solidified, whether it's Wall Street, whether it's the ASX, it's meant to represent the pie of our economies. And when we invest in the stock market, the ideological framework for that is that over time economies grow, so the pie gets bigger. And if I bought a little slice of that pie, as the pie gets bigger, my slice gets bigger. And by putting money into that pie, we help the pie grow. But all these cynical billionaire hedge fund bastards manipulate the pie and fuck with the pie, and they make their slice bigger compared to everyone else's because they make their slice bigger while they shrink the rest of the pie, and then they pocket the difference, and it's fucking crazy. That Leon Cooperman guy, his fucking Wikipedia has been updated with that little tirade. Like, basically the second sentence in the in his Wikipedia is him saying it's bullshit. So fucking, like, yes. So this is Wall Street Bets, right? So this is where it all started. I'm not a member. While I am a Redditor, I don't sail the seas here. I sail the seas elsewhere. I won't tell you what subreddits I'm subscribed to because that will reveal me for some very perverted stuff. So let's see. Oh. I should point out as well, like when I talk about how absolutely ridiculous it is to borrow these shares and to make the price go down, to borrow them, sell them, make the price go down, and then buy them back. The number of shares that have had this happen to them is actually above 100%. So 130% of the shares have basically been tagged for being shorted. And what that means is, like, a share can be borrowed from someone and then sold to someone and then borrowed again before it's become due back to that first person. That's how rampantly they were absolutely fucking with GameStop stocks. And that's how they got caught with their pants down by this subreddit, is they were just completely, like, they obviously thought they were fucking impervious, and it turns out they're not, and my phone is not properly on silent, so that's fine. So here we have people that are basically posting their positions. And so when you see people that are worried about poor people being hurt, right? There are people who are like, holy shit, I'm worried about mum and dad investors who are going to be fucking nailed by this. I don't think that these are the people that are investing in GameStop. People that are investing in GameStop at the moment are active, engaged, and not necessarily savvy, but aware of the risks and of the volatility of the market at the moment. Like, no one is putting $5,000 on a stock because they see it went up by 400%. That would be insanity. Like, I don't know shit about the stock market, but I know that if a stock goes up by 400%, that's a fucking warning. I think my basic principle on the matter is, as soon as it's news that a stock is going up, you miss the boat. I mean, I know that's not technically true, but that's sort of how I de-risk myself. But this is the call to action. We like the stock, hold. If he's still in, I'm still in. Like, they are basically paying to fuck with billionaires. People are like going, hey, this is how I'm going to spend my money. This is my entertainment budget. I'm going to fuck with billionaires. Just remember to drink water, eat food, and sleep. I can't have one of you getting weak and folding. Hold. Together we are strong. So that's kind of what's going on in the Reddit. Like, people want to say that it's all incels and that it's Gamergate and all this sort of bullshit. And I don't really see it. Like, I don't see any evidence of it. It's an open Reddit. It's been open for ages. So this is the guy that, we looked at his thing. Like, basically he's posting his positions. And and he's just got ridiculous fucking numbers, which I won't go into because I don't fully understand it myself. But it looks like he put a shit ton of money into the stocks, and he had the opportunity to cash out early, and he chose not to. And basically, he is the hero of legend on the subreddit at the moment. I was expecting some better stonk memes on the front page of Wall Street Bets. I wonder if they're being moderated out to prevent shit posting and stuff. So instead, we will go to Twitter, and we'll do some risky clicks because you don't scroll Twitter live. It should be safe if we just include results for GameStop. What is this? Invest in GameStop. Someone's bought a furry suit thanks to GameStop. That's the kind of energy I love. Who had GameStop unites America against corrupt billionaires on their 2021 bingo card? That is one thing I'll say. There's unity in this, which is what is this? Oh shit, sorry. No person is getting hurt because billionaires aren't people, so it's completely fine.
You can try to take over my company.
Here we
you
go.
can
What do we got? You go.
Listen, pal, you can try to take over my company. You can kidnap my little brother. You can even try to kill me. But when you f*** around with video games, you've gone too far.
No, the payoff there wasn't quite there. Oh, yes. Okay, this has got some of the memes that I remember seeing. Okay, I've seen this one, but it had, like, the characters behind. Like, it had Republicans, Democrats, anarchists, capitalists, socialists around going, fight. This is what I'm here for. This is the fucking... What is this?
Basically, there's a group of people on Reddit who don't use the stock market to invest. They use it to gamble. And yeah, that's what a lot of serious investors do too. But these guys on Reddit are more honest about it, and they love to troll the people who are. So there's a store called Gamestop that sells video games.
God damn it, I hit my fucking hotkey. The Wolf of Wall Street Bets. Yes, I've seen this one. This one was great. Sorry, I pulled up the chat on the wrong screen. I'm going to move the chat off because I keep forgetting that. I've swapped what screens I share. It's not an Aussie accent. It's a South African accent. I found that to people from different countries, the New Zealand, South African, and Australian accent all sound very similar, bro. But, you know, if I do my South African accent, I think you can tell the difference to when I do my Australian accent. Maybe I just sound more awkward to you. But, yeah, no, it's South African. What else? Thank you for this article, Mama. I trusted Reddit too much. Not Reddit, Twitter. Never thought I'd be taking hedge funds side by side with a Redditor. That he must... I hope it's enjoyable, Mama. I think in that particular clip, Manda, he was putting on his South African accent a bit more. Like he was playing into it the same way that I can play into my Aussie accent to try and be funny to make a point, right? That wasn't Australian. That was fucking horrible. Anyway, what the fuck? I love that Elon Musk has like joined in on the side of the people. I think I saved the picture. I'll try and find it after I go through some more of these. Yeah, this is what I've seen a while too. Like, do not sell, fucking Kermit the Frog. This one, this meme has become a favorite of mine over the last couple of days. Stimmy checks. There we go. That's back to it. 1300 Robin Hood, steal from the rich and give to the poor. 2021 Robin Hood, steal from everyone. I think they're fucking with hedge funds as well. We shouldn't scroll through unidentified Twitter thread. This one actually I like as well. Gamestop sitting at the Fortune 500 table. Oh, yes. Yep. I need to get better habits on saving links and stuff for when I'm going to do videos. All right, come on. And I need to change my scene transition to not also be refresh. Is there meant to be sound on this? Is there meant to be sound? I can't see a sound icon. I got no bullets. Time in hands. No. I should have kept it full screen. I'm sorry. It's still pretty big, yeah. Actually, you can see it better with me in the side. Fly to the moon, baby. Fly back in. All right, cool. I think we're gonna run it there. Like, basically, I wanted to say it's really fucking funny. I think this is genuine class warfare where, like I say, no one gets hurt because billionaires aren't people. And while there are risks of people losing money in the stock market, that's no different to this situation than it is to any other situation. And I think bringing that up as a criticism of this groundswell of populism from people that are otherwise disenfranchised when it comes to society is disingenuous and disrespectful to the fact that finally they have been able to take some fucking skin out of the hides of billionaires. Billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires. I strongly recommend that if you... I say strongly recommend. Not everyone's into finance stuff and can sort of bother listening to it when there's other great stuff to listen to. But there are some really good videos out there on the topic. Lewis Rossman, he does stuff on Right to Repair on Apple stuff. So he's done like heaps of video. Like, he's doing a video every few hours at one point, talking about the ramifications of this. Watch the media. Look at the way the news is going to try and spin this to regulate. They're going to want to, potentially, they're going to try and justify, hey, we need market regulations because poor people are getting hurt, when realistically all they're going to do is make it harder for poor people to play the same game that the rich people play. And that, I think, is what is most important to take out of this for people that aren't into finance, is to look at how this is going to be spun to justify basically continuing to solidify the divide between the rich and the poor. Stock markets, investments, all that sort of bullshit. It's a way of making money because you've already got money. And I think this is a big reason why the disparity between the richest people in society and the poorest people in the society is accelerating, because money attracts money, on top of the fact that they make more money through their creation of products and services, but then they also spin it into more money because of bullshit like the stock markets and shorting stocks and futures and all this other garbage. That's all we're going to say on that. So that's that. All right.